Hi everybody, welcome to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be tying a simple white booby. You can see there's one in the vise, and this one has a red tail and red cheeks, and it's actually based on a classic lure called the Jack Frost. So like I say, it's very simple. I'll just run through the materials before we get into tying it. So the tail and cheeks are Globrite No.4 floss. The body is undyed straggle fritz. The wing is white Marabou, and the eyes are white ether foam. So in this instance I'll be tying with white tying silk in 70 denier, and the hook size is a size 10. So if we get that changed out, we can get into tying it. So the hook in the vise is Kamasan B175 size 10. Now while I'm pinging this, I'll just explain. Someone asked me, why do I ping my hooks? Well, in days gone by, the tempering on some hooks wasn't that good. So if it was a dull, generally when you fished with that hook, it bent out basically. So if the tempering is good and the hook rings true, then you know you've got a good hook in the vise. So it's just habit really. Every time I put a hook in, just check the temper. So anyway, so starting with the white tying silk, I tie on just behind the eye and form a small bed of tying silk and bring it back some way towards the eye. Just take off that waist there. So if you've watched some of my other booby videos, you know I always tie on my booby eyes first. It's just the way I tie them. So a couple of turns in line with the shank, and then twist the booby eyes so that they're perpendicular with the hook shank, and a couple of figure eights between the eyes. Just to secure them. Now there are two reasons. If you watch the other videos, it'll explain, but I'll try to expand on it as we tie. So taking the tying silk down to the bend, and now what I've done is I've taken several strands of Globrite floss, strung them together, brushed them out, so that provides me with a nice tail. It doesn't need to be too bushy, it's just a hint of a colour there anyway if you need it. And then take off the waist and tie it in with loose wraps, and then go back down to the tail. So the next material then is, as I say, it's undyed straggle fritz, and what we can do is just offer that up, tie in loose turns all the way to the booby eyes, and then close touching turns back down and back up, just to ensure that it's nice and secure. And you'll notice, because I'm using the 70 denier, the body isn't actually being bulked up. So next thing, just take this straggle, close touching turns all the way up to the booby eyes, and try to push back any of the straggle components so that they don't get trapped and they spike out from the body. Okay, so I said I tied my booby eyes in first, and one of the reasons is if I push forward with the body material, it actually forces the eyes forward, so it puts them under a bit of tension and effectively gives them a bit of support. So once we've done that, I'll just snip off the waste and then push back many of the fibres, a couple of turns just to secure them so they become part of the body, or force them back anyway. So with regard to the cheeks, once again, this braid I've made from the Globrite floss. What I do now is I hook it under the booby eye, come over the hook eye, and then come back under the other booby eye. So essentially I put under the one booby eye, so under the one booby eye, over the hook eye, and then back under the other booby eye. And all I need to do then is trim them to size. Don't need to be too big, so I've trimmed them off, and you can see they are separate, but what I'll do now is I'll just push them down the side of the fly and take a couple of turns of tie-in silk just to secure them. Okay, finally what we need is some white Marabou. Take about ½ inch of good plumes. Let me just prep this, and this is the second reason why I tie my eyes in first, because I tie my wing in between the eyes under the hook, and then figure of 8 down. So cinch that in, and that's under there, yeah, and then back over, back under, and let's take a look at the waist there. There we go. So by tying my booby eyes in between the eyes, once again it's forced those eyes wider, so it's put them under a bit of stress, and therefore or a bit of tension, not stress. So once again, what happens is it helps support the booby eyes and prevents them from rotating. So all I'm going to do now is make sure that that wing is fully secured with another couple of figure of 8s, and then over the eye and whip finish. There we go. So all we need to do now is trim that wing up so that we get into the finished fly, and then a couple of drops of varnish. So the main one is underneath where the eyes are secured, and then between the eyes, not too much, but that ensures that any whip or any tie-in silk or feather components there are also secured. So if I just rotate them slightly, yeah, you can see a little bit different, a little bit familiar for some, but essentially a white booby that is different to many of the others that are currently available. And as I always preach, sometimes having something different is the difference between catching and not catching. So as an aside, there are many materials available on the market nowadays, and here's an alternative. This one has been tied, I don't know whether you can make it out, but this one has been tied with an uphaven metallic straggle hackle in silver with UV, and that also is a good alternative. All right, not doing a very good job of demonstrating this, but hopefully you'll understand what I mean. So with that, all I'll say is I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Cheers then.